Misconception of bilingual education. The misconception that I wanted to focus on for bilingual education is bilingual education means instruction mainly in the student's native languages, with little instruction in English. If you go to Merriam-Webster and look up the definition of bilingual education, you will read, education in an English language school system in which students with little fluency in English are taught in both their native language and English. The keywords in this definition is they are taught in both their native language and in English. Learning in two languages. This came from educationcorner.com, and it was a bilingual K-12 bilingual education article. And it kind of gave the definition, or it kind of gave examples of bilingual education, and it said there, when non-English speaking students are educated in both their native language and English, their ability to learn and speak English is greatly enhanced. So when you're allowing a student to sit in a classroom and feel comfortable in their native language, yet expose them to their second language, they're able to feel more comfortable. So for example, it goes both ways. My husband is a Spanish teacher at the community college, and a lot of times teachers or professors, depending on their degree, like to start the Spanish classes speaking complete Spanish. My husband, on the other hand, does not like to do that. He likes to address his classes in their native language while exposing them to their second language, so that they have a better understanding of what they're learning, a better base to their understanding of what they're learning. The law that I wanted to focus on is the Bilingual Education Act of 1984. And the Bilingual Education Act of 1984 addresses the need for increased flexibility in the implementation of programs for LEP students by giving local school districts a greater voice in deciding how LEP students should be taught. School districts were able to apply for funds for different types of programs that use various teaching strategies. The reason that I focused on this one is because I am a firm believer that the local departments should be the ones that have the most authority. Each of our districts in the state of California are different. Some might have the mass majority of Korean students. Some might have the mass majority of English-speaking students. And some might have the mass majority of Hispanic-speaking students. But nobody can decide something for a whole state when we are all so diverse. After reading through a lot of these laws and things, it really did make me focus on having equality and having equity in the classroom. Just looking at the laws and seeing that people are having to fight so hard just to get a solid education. It really makes you as a teacher want to sit there and be like, okay, how can I better serve my students so that we don't have to go to this degree of going to a court and creating a law? Like, we should automatically be looking at our classrooms. Like, who can help my classroom the most? Not a law, not the government. I should be able to help my classroom the most. I should be able to sit there and look at my classroom and say, okay, I've got this student, this student, this student, and this student. How can I better serve them? Another example of this is I do have a student that I'm trying to evaluate right now. I teach a special education class. It's an Algebra 1 class. And this student can do algebra way better than everybody else in my class. And so the one thing that I've noticed is he doesn't talk or interact with the class. He sits in the back of the class, doesn't spoke unless he's spoken to. And it just makes me think a lot of questions in my head. So today we had a fun day, and kids were playing, or I'm sorry, students were playing games, and these are, juniors in high school, and or I'm sorry, sophomores in high school. And so I invited him to come play Uno with us. And right away, he came up and wanted to play, but he wouldn't come up on his own. It makes me feel like there's some kind of insecurity there. There's something that keeps him in his own space. But yet, when invited, he came right up and he had a great time. And when he left class, he said, "Thank you, miss, for letting us play this game today." I think there's things that we need to open our eyes to and realize, yes, this is a math class, but let's have a finish up Friday where we play Uno and just get to know one another, and let them express who they are. Uh, so I really feel like it's very sad that we have to go to the extreme of making laws to best educate our students. I just wish that every teacher in the classroom would take the time to look at their students and figure out how to best educate them.